Let's get some legal analysis now on that postponement. I'm joined by attorney Walid Brown. Walid, a very good afternoon. Thanks so much for your time. What do you read into just this postponement by Raymond Zondo? I'm not sure if you heard my colleague Tulisi's Wesimilane there say that it might not be a case of that he's floundering after. We were pretty sure yesterday after hearing his statement that he will not recuse himself, but maybe more a case of just making sure that every single detail, correct detail, is in place. What's your take on it?
Yeah, look, make no mistake, it's a very important application and it's an important decision for Judge Zondo to take. He has shown over the past year, while we've been watching the Commission deal with evidence, he's very methodical. He takes his time to make a decision. He's not rash, he's not emotional. So I'm not surprised that he's taken another day to think about it. As I said, it's a very important decision he has to take. And Advocate Sikakana has already indicated that if the application goes against his client, he intends to review. So that makes it more important for the judge to consider it properly, consider both submissions made by either party, and to come with a decision. And I'm confident that he will make the correct decision tomorrow.
Walid, what would a review entail?
A review would be whether or not the judge has been able to apply his mind correctly to the issues before him. You see, the difficulty with this particular application is that it's not an application to a judge before a court. A lot of what was argued yesterday was the test as to whether or not a judge should recuse himself because the judge has been too involved in the process, asked too many questions, interrogated the witnesses. But this is not a court of law. This is a commission of inquiry. The chairperson here has to follow an inquisitorial route. So now this application comes along and says, while you follow your inquisitorial approach, asking questions of the witnesses, have you been fair? Are you able to have an open mind about the report that you are going to be given? Now, the case law that has been cited by Advocate Pretorius in particular sets out the tests for this. And a review will deal with whether or not that test has been correctly applied in the ruling by Judge Zondo.
So was there anything that you heard yesterday coming from the side of the former president and his legal counsel that might leave the door open, that might have left something there for Raymond Zondo to consider that, that maybe he should recuse himself from this, or is everything pretty watertight? Has it been sealed for you that there is no need for him to recuse himself from this process? And considering everything that's at stake, and at this stage, considering that they don't have many more months left at this inquiry to function.
Yeah. Look, my considered view is that the judge won't recuse himself, simply based on the arguments that were presented yesterday. As I said, he was attacked namely on two grounds. One, his inquisitorial approach. As Advocate Pretorius pointed out, that is his role as a commissioner. He's not going to make a finding against former President Zuma. He's going to make recommendations to the judge based on all the witnesses. And then it's up to different parties to take that findings and to take it further. Secondly, they indicated that there's a perception of bias. Now, as Advocate Pretorius had pointed out, perception of bias is not sufficient. They have to show that there was actual bias, that there was actual malice in the way questions were asked that caused prejudice to former President Zuma. Now, most of the country have been watching the testimony, and particularly the testimony of Zuma, and we can all make up our mind in terms of whether Judge Zondo appeared to be biased. My personal view is that he is quite fair, he's quite composed, he asks questions where necessary, he doesn't unnecessarily interrupt, and the questions he asked have often led to more important information for the Commission.
Well, Walid, I mean, on the face of this, and I think we've asked similar questions when it came to Dudu Myeni as well, the fact that you treat this inquiry of this Commission the way they both have, and especially the former president putting up such a fight and even going to these lengths now. I mean, his version of his relationship with Raymond Zondo completely different from what the Deputy Chief Justice actually remembers it to be or knows it to be as well. Does it again say to us, but if you really have nothing to hide, just come and answer some questions. If you can't, does it again point to the fact that Jacob Zuma really is running scared?
Look, it's difficult to make that conclusion. Of course, anyone has the right to remain silent, to challenge the allegations made against them, and they have the right to challenge the process. The difficulty in this particular matter is that former President Zuma is the one that actually instituted the commission based on the report from the public protector. He's the one who actually established the commission and the Commission Act. So it's difficult to understand exactly what his strategy is. He has appeared before the commission before, he has answered questions. Why there is such a resistance to answer questions this time, it's very difficult to speculate. His advocate made it clear that it's not as if he's afraid to come to the commission and answer questions. And his advocate has also indicated that if he is forced to come, he may reserve his right to remain silent. And that is, of course, his right. It's different to the Miyeni matter, where she was specifically referring to a criminal matter that had already been brought against her. As far as I understand, nothing arising out of this commission has yet been criminally charged against the former president. So we take that from whence it comes.
All right, Walid Brown, thank you so much for that insight. I suppose, well, we'll know when we know, and that'll be tomorrow. Jacob Zuma will know what's going to happen with him and this state capture inquiry. But